In today's video, I'll show you two fun, easy techniques that will combine to create this really cool design and to really help your designs to get that 3D depth effect and really cool colors that pop. Come on in and check it out. Okay, so in today's video, as always, I soaked in soda ash. We're going to start in the center point and just radiate everything out. It's not a hard technique at all. You just mark out all your center points. And just like any, we always soak it in soda ash for at least 20 minutes. Pull up our center points and point them away from us. Make that line nice and straight. Take your back marks, fold them over to match your front marks, even them up, give it that all-important shake. That shake gets all the, where the fold is, all down nice and neat. And then you bring it to the front of the shirt to face you. The front of the shirt will be the section that has the two sides. You really want to take your time with these to straighten everything out as carefully as possible. For this particular design, the more exact you can be, the absolute better. Then we're going to take that center point and we're going to make folds, but the folds closest to the point are going to be very narrow, not very high. As it goes further out, the fans are higher toward the outside of the point. And we're going to keep rotating around that point. The reason we want the furthest side away from the point where my hand at the top of the screen is, where my hand is toward the bottom of the screen, that is where all the work is really being done. That's where I want to make sure that those ends are much higher. That draws in all the extra fabric and brings everything to that nice radiating effect. As I go, you see my top index finger holding kind of that one central point. That's because as I go, I'm not going to be able to stay at that center point and keep doing those folds. I'm going to have to do some kind of incremental folds. And I'm going to keep going around that point. And as I do, as I keep pulling the material that's to the right, it'll keep pulling that top material down where my index finger is holding down. And you'll see it ends up making these loops, almost like fingerprint loops. I tie it off with some twine. Finish the radiating folds. Don't worry too much about the folds toward the bottom yet. Now I'm going to tie off with twine or string the first 3 sections. The next 3 sections I'm going to just band. And then the bottom section I'm going to flatten out and I'm going to take and scrunch in little rows, almost like a worm. Kind of loops up and down, up and down, up and down. And we'll band that all together. You'll probably have to do a lot of diagonal rubber bands for that last section. Now for the dye, we're going to start with a black cherry. If you're doing this with liquid dye, you could just do red, yellow, blue and get the same basic 6 colors. Then I went with a peacock blue, a new emerald green, and a lemon yellow. back to the black cherry. Fill in a little bit of that yellow again. Back to the peacock blue. Back to the new emerald green. Now instead of yellow again, I went with the black cherry again. And this time, because this is where we did all those little worm or wave folds, this is where we're going to start going the opposite way with laying it out in stripes. And we went with the black cherry, lemon yellow, peacock blue, and new emerald green. We pop some ice on it, and we give it a rinse, a wash, a dry, and an iron, and we'll see you with the final results. And here it is, our final result. Could not be happier. With this particular style, you get a lot of depth, a lot of these torpedo kind of shapes that actually have almost like a cylindrical effect. Again, if you're using a liquid dye, I would use combinations of red, yellow, and blue. That will still give you 6 colors very close to these. I use Dharma Trading Company dyes. If you use those, you can still do them as liquid dyes, and they give you tremendous different shades of colors, so you want to definitely check that out. I am Dyeverse Designs, aka Living for the Better Good of All, and I hope you are too.